All right, hello everyone. We are live. Greetings and salutations to all. This is Delvin, and a warm welcome to everyone at MESC Red Devils NCR. Tonight, I'm joined with a very special guest. He's a reputed anchor. He's a scuba diver, and most importantly, he's a Red Devil just like us. I'm joined by your host and the most. It's Chinmaya Sharma, aka Scuba Chinu, with us. Hello, Chinmaya. A warm welcome. It's great to have you on board, and I hope you're doing great.
Brother, first of all, thank you for the due diligence, man. Host with the most is fantastic, and that's what I do, man. And like I told you when we spoke on over our DMs, that anything Manchester United, I'm more than happy to help out, man.
Yeah, I was trying to do the thing that you do, but it just feels better than that absolutely. It just feels better when you do it. It's great. Yeah. I tried to do it, but I couldn't make head or tail of it. So you do it better. Yeah,
It's
absolutely. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's me,
yeah.
it's me being a peacock, bro. That's me. I couldn't care less about what I do what I like, and which is why you've seen my videos as well. Do anything about United, I do get a lot of flack for a lot of opinions that I have, but look, I mean, it's my opinion. I'm very happy to share it.
Well, in all honesty, whenever it comes to United-based opinions, every fan miraculously or some reason or the other has a very contrasting opinion which can go left. So you are potentially not alone in that. We almost find ourselves in the same boat in that regard is concerned. So a very interesting time to be a Man United fan, Chinmay. First of all, we've got some of our business done quite early. Which is a stark contrast to most of the transfer windows that we find ourselves in. We've
Right.
got in Andre Onana, what's my name? We've got in Mason Mount, who's our new number 7, and it seems like our transfer rumors when it comes to circling a striker are getting closer and closer. But before we get into all of this, before we get into the nitty gritties of it, I just want to ask you, your journey as a United fan. I mean, how did you get into supporting United? Was it a particular player who caught your fancy? Was it a particular game as such? So, what got you hooked onto that journey of becoming a Red Devil?
First of all, I'm very lucky to have started watching football in 1998, which is just the year before we won the treble. So it was a no-brainer, to be honest. And I tell you what, to be honest, I think David Beckham got me into football. Ronaldo made me fall in love with Manchester United, and then just for that all heart is Wayne Rooney. So I think it's these three guys who I attribute the most to getting me into football. And look, I actually started supporting United late 1998. It took about 6 to 8 months. I'm not gonna lie. I checked out Arsenal. I sort of fancied Liverpool at the time. I absolutely loved Inter Milan back in the day with Christian Vieri. But I think Bex, just watching Bex, and the class of '92 perform, and then the '99 treble was just like,
Absolutely, just tugs in right into your heartstrings. We have quite a few people into the chat. There are a lot of people who are acknowledging you. We have Ria Marfatia who says hi. Then there is Jehan who's giving you greetings as well. Always so good to meet you, Man United fans. Just a different bond and an next level feeling. Yes, absolutely. Speaking to you already, it's just been barely 4 minutes, and there is a certain vibe, there's a certain atmosphere that you can just bounce off one another, and it's just an incredible feeling when you have someone like this, and especially when it's a United fan, it's even more merrier. So Manish Singh says this, and this is something that even I want to know personally. You are one of the United fans who got the ultimate pleasure of being up close and personal with the man, the legend, the king himself, the record breaker, the trend setter, the standard bearer that is Wayne Rooney, our white Pele. Just give us the cup, give us the tea, like fill our cup. How was it? Like, what was it interacting with the guy as a person, as a footballer, as an analyst? What was the emotions, and how did you manage to keep a straight face? Because trust me, if I would be there, the first thing I would be doing is selfies or autograph. Like, how did you manage to keep a straight face right about there?
it's interesting you said the selfie and autograph bit, bro. So it was very difficult, honestly, and let me tell you why. First of all, I think it was Manish who asked the question. Manish, how are you, brother? Thank you so much for your question. Uh, Look, I started with Sports 18 9 months before the World Cup happened, and you won't believe it. My showrunner for another show I was doing for the same channel, we didn't have a football expert, and for 9 months straight, bro, you won't believe it. I swear to everything that's holy to me. For 9 months, every 3 weeks, I would literally, with a straight face, say, "Guys, why are we now getting Wayne Rooney?" Obviously, as a joke, but it became a thing in the office. And the first person they signed was Wayne Rooney. And I remember getting a message from my producer saying, "You're a madman, you have a black tongue." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "You're doing Wayne Rooney." I was initially supposed to be in Qatar doing the on-field stuff. Very last minute, they decided to keep me in the studio and do the daytime show for Sports 18. And let me tell you, there is a special feeling you get when you enter a stadium and you see the grass for the first time, right? When you're watching a live game. I opened the studio door and I remember Rooney was doing his mic check with Luis Figo and Perez and Gilberto Silva and Sol Campbell. And first of all, any of these names apart from Wayne Rooney is rule worthy. And I couldn't care less about any of them. And I've just locked eyes with Wayne Rooney. My producers come and said, meet him. And I swear, bro, I had one of those. Before he could say, "How are you?" I said, "I'm fine." And I'm like, "No, you idiot! Don't mess up your bloody sort of interaction with Wayne." But over the next 1 month or 29 days to be exact, we bonded over a lot of things. I'll tell you what really got me until today. I swear, I'm wearing Tulsi's, but I have goosebumps. Is my entire childhood watching this guy ripping apart oppositions and then having him recreate those moments in front of me. So to give you an example, there was one moment where I had Robert Perez and Rooney doing the show with us. And 2004 United played Arsenal at Highbury, which was a very heated game. If you remember, Vaza got into Wayne Rooney. Vaza got into Perez. Perez had just shaved for that game, and Rooney said something to him, and then he just I've turned to them 10 minutes before we're going live and I said, "Listen, guys, you remember 2004 Highbury? What were you telling me, brother?" And I looked at Perez and Perez said, "Dude, my English not too good, so I didn't remember that time." And Rooney Saron, I said, "I remember everything." And I can't say on camera what he compared a shaven cheek to, but I'm guessing your imagination that you take it away. But it was amazing. I didn't ask him for one selfie. I didn't ask him for one autograph till the last day. And I actually had that on video where our last show has gotten over. He signed over 200 autographs on that same day. And I had two jerseys in my backpack. And I literally finished the show. He hugged me. And I said, "Vaisa, do you mind signing something for me and my little brother?" And he said, "I'm surprised you didn't ask me quicker." So we literally got the jerseys out, took a couple of pictures. He asked me. I posted that picture. There were over 200 pictures and autographs that he took. And this is like with big horse, with industrialists. There's one post that he replied to, which is my post. I tagged him in it and I said, "Absolute pleasure working with you. Whoever said never meet your heroes is a liar." And he literally replied saying, "It was an absolute pleasure working with you, legend." And for the next 1 month, everyone like, "You call me legend, please. Please call me legend."
That is such a beautiful story, and thank you for giving us the inside spill on what happened in 2004 as well. Guys, you heard it here first, and Chinmaya is the one who gave us the inside spill about the iconic battle of 2004 between Rooney and Robert Perez. So without wasting much time, Chinmaya, let's just get right into it.
Buddy, I'm getting a little distortion on your voice. There's a little bit of distortion.
Is it yeah, is it
uh,
better now?
no, I think you're sounding like you sound like Stephen Hawking right now, buddy. It's all
All right. Is it better now?
no, it's exactly the same. I think it's just very electronic. It's got a lot of distortion. Just ask the guys in the live, can they hear us all right? Because for me, I'm
Yeah.
getting.
Am I audible? Am I clear? Is it better now?
No, it's exactly the same. I think it's probably a mic issue because it's
Better
very.
now? Hello? Hello?
No, it's just sounding very electronic. I think it's an issue with the mic. The volume is perfectly fine. It's just very muffled.
Vijay says it's clear. Who's watching online? Yeah, it's clear. It's showing it's clear. Or saying it's clear. Everyone on stream is saying it's clear.
Okay. Then let's go on, bro. It's not.
Yeah.
I'll try and read your lips.
If your lip game is strong, please don't take this out of context, guys. Yeah, so let's get right. Let's get right into it. We've secured two of our key targets right out before the preseason, which is something that we weren't able to do last year. We've gotten Mason Mount. He's got two preseason games under his belt. Decent performances in both. But it is a type of performance that you expect from a player who's just finding his feet in a new team in an entirely new system. And then we had the bombshell where Onana is finally, he's on his way to New York as we speak, and he will be in time for the Arsenal game in USA as well. So compared to last year, how much of a change do you see in the way that we are approaching our transfers? There is something of a newfound urgency to the deals that we are doing. There is due diligence done on part of us, and also there is a lot of research, and I think we have stood our ground, which is something we've not managed to do in the previous windows, where we've relented very easily, we've rolled over. But this year it's a case of difference. We've stood our ground. We've been hard. We've played hardball when we wanted to, and at the end of the day, we've got our man. So, what is the change that you see in the windows of the past and this window in particular?
So I'll give you the good and the bad. Let's start with the good news first of all. Massive signing Onana. Not just because he's an exciting prospect and has done fantastic for Inter Milan. I think it's because this new style of play. I think a lot of things were weighing us down. Number one being Harry Maguire. Number two being David De Gea. Look, I'm a huge fan of David De Gea. Right? He could have saved the Titanic, like everyone knows, man. He's just one of the best shot stoppers on the planet. But massive shortcoming was his distribution. There was a stat I saw not too long ago, buddy, where he had 35. All of last season, he had 35 defensive tackles outside the box, and Allison had over 90. So you see that Ten Hag is looking for someone to distribute from behind. So it's imperative we got a keeper like that to start. And so I'm very happy with Onana. Again, Mason Mount, phenomenal player. I mean, I don't need to talk much about him because everyone knows exactly how he's done for England and for Chelsea. The only issue is I'm not liking the fact that something like this, that the United of old would have taken a few days to sort, is taking 3 to 4 weeks. And this just tells me that's the downfall, man, that we as fans, and I'm saying myself included in that bracket, we're very fickle-minded. We see Mount done, we see Onana done, great signings, but it's taking far too long, and I don't want that to happen with Højlund as well. So again, fantastic signings, but we can be doing so much more, so much better. At the same time, we lost out on Kim Min-jae, we lost out on Rabiot, we lost out on a bunch of players. Amrabat might just go to Liverpool now. So, I mean, as a fan, I'm still pissed off at how United are tackling this. But also as a fan, I'm very happy that we've got these signings in.
It's very interesting that you've mentioned Sofyan Amrabat just about now. At the same time, there is a report that has come out from GIFN, which is an Italian source, I guess, that Amrabat has been handed some extra days break with regards to his interest from United. So, fingers crossed, hopefully we do get this deal done over the line. Yeah, I think we need to cross every finger, every bone that is there in the body. Also, the reason why I'm so positive is that, just in case you don't know, Trey has been suspended for the fourth time, which means that we can officially be a serious club once again. There was a minor mishap, there was an inconvenience on the road, but we got over it. So our main topic is that search for number 9. So if I put it out in some way, it feels like we know what the illness is, we know what the solution is, but it's due to some reason or the other, we're just not able to go ahead and pick out the one we want. The United search for a number 9 has gone on for the past 2 or 3 years. I mean, we've seen in the past 2-3 years that Anthony Martial is just not it. The guy spends more time on a hospital bed rather than on the pitch. There was a running joke amongst us last year that even if you tie Martial in bubble wrap, in cotton wool, keep him in his bedroom and lock him, he will somehow still find a way to get injured. That's how injury prone he is. So it was just frustrating. And Rashford's contract being extended is a sign that there could be a situation where we do see Ten Hag play Rashford as the 9, But if you ask me personally, Rashford is more accustomed or more better in lethal to play that second striker role.
Correct.
So that is what I feel. So let's talk about the Hoyland situation. There was a reel where you spoke about Hoyland. You spoke about the qualities of Hoyland, but I think you weren't sure whether the amount or the outlay that we are putting on him is the right one. You spoke about his career path, playing in Austria, playing in Denmark, and then playing for Atalanta. There is a gradual step up in each and every club that he's been a part of. Especially in Atalanta, you can finally see him come into the spotlight. His manager, Gianpiero Gasperini, openly has said it. The direct comparison to Hoyland is Haaland. Whereas the player himself is a little too tempered with his expectations, you can see why. Because the guy is built similarly. He's a Scandinavian, just like Haaland. He runs the same way. There
Yeah.
is a similarity in the way you pronounce his name, but there is a whole lot of difference. So there is a talk that Fabrizio himself has gone ahead and said it. This is once again, while we were having our conversation, that we will be sending our first proposal officially very, very soon as far as Hoyland is concerned. So let's see what happens in the Hoyland front as well. So I want to know your thoughts about Hoyland. Like, do you see him fit United with the profile that he has? And the way that he's 9 goals in 31 appearances is not exactly the kind of record that we are looking for as a striker, but there are a lot of football fans. I've had a lot of conversations with Serie A fans as well, who say that if there is a certainty that Hoyland would go on to ball this season, and then where the price is supposed to be 50 or 60 million euros, we end up paying double the price. So how important it is to capitalize on such a player. You put a very beautiful example of Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland, where there's a big name and where there is the other guy who's just as talented but will take time to settle in. So what is your 2 cents on the Hoyland situation? It's a two-part question. Do you believe he is the number 9 for the future as far as United is concerned? And the second part is, how do you think he fits the mold in the United of now?
I'm going to add a third part to that. And you mentioned Rashford. So let me first of all congratulate all the United fans watching that. It's a massive deal that we have now for a much longer term. But like I said, I love to remind the fans and myself that, guys, we're Manchester fucking United. We cannot take a makeshift striker and put our entire. I'm not talking about Hoyland, I'm talking about Rashford. He is a winger out and out. We do not want to see him. We cannot be happy with Rashford as the main striker. Now, coming to Hoyland, absolutely agree with you, man. I think he is the future. Phenomenal. I mean, again, I don't watch too much of the Serie A. I'm not proud of my ignorance, but I have been very, very closely following a lot of his videos, and I love him. First of all, left-footed striker, quick. He's got all the makings of a world-class superstar striker, but he's just 20. He's not proven himself. I Ideal situation would have been an out-and-out senior striker, and this guy's the understudy. What happened with Chicharito, right? You had the likes of Rooney, Berba, Tevez. He's getting groomed, learning, and you saw how quickly he molded into United. I fear with Hoyland, maybe there's a lot of pressure being put on him. And now he was earning £10,000 a week at Atlanta. I think they're going to push it up to about 80 or 90. So money-wise, it's great. I think his price is a little. I would love to see Benfica came knocking how much Atlanta would charge them, but we're desperate. But look, as fans, our job is not to see how much money is going. That's the club's problem. That's the fucking Glazers' problem. For us, I want to see my boys go out there, express themselves. Hoyland is that over an entire season, man. If you want to compete with the best, you need to have the best. Hoyland right now is a massive promise, and honestly, nothing more. But I'm excited. Why lie? I'm definitely excited. I would have ideally seen Vlahovic or an Osimhen as the main striker, and then let this guy play the FA Cup, the Carling Cup, and a few games in the Premier League, get his feet sorted. He's going to hit the ground running, I'm afraid.
Absolutely. So you spoke about Osimhen. So there was this time where it felt like Victor Osimhen to Man United is just a matter of time, because he had his heart set on a move to the Premier League. And for me, still, I personally believe if it had to be a choice between Harry Kane and Victor Osimhen, I would still go ahead and pick a fight with anyone who said that they wouldn't take Victor Osimhen, because I have Victor Osimhen stocks with me. Like that guy is an
Oh,
absolute
bro,
that
that's a big statement. That's a big
yeah.
statement.
Yes, because that guy is an absolute battering ram. He's a tank. I know there have been concerns with his durability, with his health, but in a 60 game season, if you give me 40 games of Osimhen, I can genuinely write it on a piece of paper and give you that he's going to have a match winning impact in all those 40 games. That is how good the guy is. That is how destructive the guy is. Also, it helps that his idol, that's Odion Igalo, played for United. So that's a massive glowing endorsement also. But apart from Hoyland, David Ornstein also put in a small brief saying that there are parallel discussions happening with Tandel Kolo Muani, who currently plies his trade for Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. So, to give you a little context on what type of a player Kolo Muani is, he's a very all-rounded striker. His first season in the Bundesliga last year, he finished with 25 goal involvements. That's 13 goals and 12 assists in the first season. He had a pretty good role to play in Eintracht's run in the Champions League as well. But it's again the question of the price tag. It's 100 million euros, and they seem to be pretty reluctant to come down, which is something that Atalanta have been ready to, they have ready to, reach a compromise as far as the price is concerned. But Frankfurt are still playing hardball on that. So if I would give you a comparison between Rasmus Højlund, who's 20 years old, and you said is definitely one for the future to look for, and Kolo Muani, who's 5 years his senior, he's 25, but coming off his first ever season in the Bundesliga. Who would you choose if it had to be one or the two, or would you just take a chance and like just go for both of them?
No, I think honestly, I'll just come back to what I said before. Is if you're getting Moani or Hoyland, you need a proper striker who's been around for at least 7 to 8 years. Which is why, again, I, unlike you, would pick Harry Kane first, purely on the reason that, man, I've seen over the years. I'm sure you have, to all the fans watching, all the viewers, that there've been a lot of extremely promising big names who've come to England and struggled here. Not nowhere. The weather is pathetic in most of these clubs. You go to Manchester, half the weather is widely joined. So I think someone who's done it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and has born bred in England, I think would be a massive game changer for me. But look, again, all of these names have thrown up phenomenal prospects, but for these two, either or, man. I wouldn't get. I'd probably still go for Hoyland for sure.
Oh, all right, fair enough. It seems that your arrival on the stream is becoming a hotbed for breaking news, because right now it's been official that Bruno Fernandes is our new captain. And that is official. Bruno will be leading the side for the upcoming season. So let me get your thoughts. I think this was a foregone conclusion from the moment that Harry was stripped of captaincy, because throughout the course of last season, after the Brentford game, we did see Bruno transform into that level above when you seen the armband on his side. Like he seemed like it seemed natural to him, and there are very few players who can naturally command the attention of a team, can call out your misgivings and still be one of those respected names in the dressing room. Because players like Bruno, you can always have that potential of having get rubbed shoulders the wrong way, or it could go south very quickly because of the
Yeah.
passion that he has. He being an Iberian, a Portuguese, you see Portuguese players wear their hearts on their sleeves.
Yeah.
A small example is the João Cancelo situation that happened at Man City. It doesn't end well most of the times, but here Bruno has officially been appointed captain. How much of a key obstacle is out of a way now that the captaincy situation is more or less resolved?
Massive. I think it was on the cards though, man. The only other people out. See, Varane for me was never in the conversation. Not because he's not a good leader, because he started getting injured very often. For me, it was between Bruno and Casemiro. Bruno, honestly, man, tell me what you think. We had a captain last season in Harry Maguire, but we just had one leader in Bruno. And a lot of people say, and including some United fans, that really pisses me off is he's too whiny. He's filling his hands up a lot. I fucking love it, dude. Harry Kane, I'm saying, Roy Keane used to do that. Roy Keane used to be that guy who was putting his hand up, holding his hand. I love that. You need the passion. Like I keep reminding you of Manchester United, we do not take well to mediocrity. So I think Bruno is going to step up and really perform. And I think now that he's officially top dog captain, I think it's really going to be a boost because I think once your leader's energy is high, when he's commanding a situation, I think automatically transcends onto the team. So I think it's fantastic news.
Yeah. Vijay DeCosta has a very interesting question. Is this window a Glazers type of window, or there is a slight undertone of a Qatari flavor to the transfer window? Because like I iterated earlier in this conversation that we're having, that this is a window unlike Manchester United, where you do not see so much of assertiveness, so much of confidence, or the 50 shades of grey type shit, where you take charge, you are the dominant one, and for once
Right.
the teams that you are doing business with are the submissive ones. So what are your 2 cents on this? Because I've seen a reel where you had a smile only for the sake of it, but you were stewing when you, just like millions and millions of United fans around the globe, are just stuck in this endless cycle of will they, won't they, will they, won't they, whether they're still going to be there, whether they're not. Right now, all the information we have is that they're still going to be at the helm on the first day of the Premier League season. It's still, I personally believe that the Glazers have to leave, and they will leave, because they've far drawn it out too much to stay. Because it's either you let go of the club or you let go of your lives. It's that simple for the Glazers at this point. So what is your answer to the question? I personally found this question very interesting. Whether is this a Glazers type of window, or something which is bankrolled, or overseen invisibly by the Qataris?
So, Vijay, thank you for your question, buddy. I think this answer is pretty straightforward for me. There is nothing Qatari about this. This is something that we've been known to do. I very recently found out through this lovely page that I follow called the United Stand. I think they are the biggest fan page that United has. There is nothing Qatari about. I'll tell you why. Everything that happens in terms of transfers and running of this club has to be approved by all of the Glazers, and this is a fact that they've got through 3 or 4 different processes. So there is the fact that we took 4 weeks to sign Onana. I'm not happy. I keep reminding the fans that, guys, we cannot be happy with getting just an Onana and a Mason Mount. We are the same team that got Berbatov from Tottenham's mouth. We pulled them out on deadline day, and he's a top dog striker. So that's the kind of team, that's the kind of transfer I would expect. I guarantee you that if the Qataris were part of this, the names would be much bigger. Nothing against Mason Mount, Onana, or the Hoyland who's going to come in mostly. But this, there is no Qatari flavor to this. You look at all the other Qatari-based teams and look how they buy players. They buy players like I'd probably buy a Kit Kat at Estonia by the way. But it's there's nothing Qatari about it, in my humble opinion. I think it's still a very basic transfer season we've had. And as usual, we don't try to make ourselves feel good by saying, "Oh, we got a new number 7." I mean, we're the same fans who were elated when we got Fellaini on deadline day. I think that needs to change, and I think with the Qatari takeover, it hopefully should happen. What I've heard recently is that, like I said, this could go on, but the Glazers are willing to sell, but only at the right price. Sheikh Jassim is still on the table. Ratcliffe, unfortunately, has said, "I'm willing to stretch this out, even if it goes on to December." That it can't happen, man. We need, and I guarantee you, if we had this takeover happen, I guarantee you there would be some sort of talk about an Mbappe or a Kane or a Neymar, like the big names. We forget who we are, man. If we want to win the Champions League, if we want to challenge for the title. You guys tell me in the comments actually, and just tell me that do you think with this current team we genuinely have a chance to take Man City and win the league? Do you think we have the chance to take the likes of Real Madrid in the Champions League game? I don't think so. And if you cut my heart open, there's a rest right here. But let me know in the comments what you guys think.
So it's very interesting that you mentioned Spurs, and very interesting that you mentioned Harry Kane,
Right.
because that's my next directive. Like, Harry Kane. Now, we all knew that our pursuit of Harry Kane was very public at the start. It felt like, it was only a matter of time that moment the season gets over that Kane is going to put his head down, say that, all right, here's the situation. I've played a lot for Spurs, but I think I'm not getting any younger right now. I need a change of surroundings. I need to go to United.
Yeah.
That's been dragged out. The price was prohibitive for a player who's turning 30 and has just a year left on his contract. But currently, there is only one buyer in the market for Harry Kane, and that's Bayern Munich. They've quoted a price of 80 million euros. I think which comes down to roughly around what 70, 71 million
Yeah.
pounds. Yeah,
Yeah.
something around that. Do you believe, because I think Wayne Rooney himself in a recent athletic interview has gone on record and said that Harry Kane is the kind of player that United are desperately crying for. And Wayne Rooney is not the only one who's been saying this. There are a lot of English pundits who believe that Harry Kane is a tailor-made fit for Man United. So is it time for United to just go ahead and put out their wrist, like say like, Kane baby, we are the one, you are the 9 that we need to make this a perfect 10. Like what exactly should United need to do? And do you, because I we recently had a stream to speak about what could be United's next course of action in the transfer window as general. A lot of us believe that somewhere down the line we do see the Harry Kane deal happening and he becoming a United player on the stroke of deadline day. That is what we feel. There's something that there's something that makes us feel that way. But what is your thoughts on that Harry Kane situation, and what is your personal probability on this deal becoming an actual reality?
So look, to be honest, under the Glazers, highly unlikely, and I'll tell you why. Not because they're a bunch of I've used enough of profanity, so I'm gonna control myself now. But look, we had a fine of £300,000 on us a week ago that we've just cleared for financial fair play issues. And again, City, what's up, guys? I mean, you guys are the kings of that. There's not been a single fine. But again, this is a small discrepancy that United had a few years ago. We are in debt right now. With the Glazers on, it's highly unlikely because look, we had a lot of money saved up to go just for Harry Kane and maybe one or two players. We've divided that over a bunch of players now. So I honestly feel that it's very tough to see Harry Kane in that famous red jersey if the Glazers are still part of the team. If we do get a buyout, it's definitely on the cards. And the best part is the players interested. Uh, we want him. Eric Ten Hag is obviously a huge fan, and I think he fit in. He plays with Jasbaya. That when you see passion on the field, he's literally been. I mean, trust me. You see his pictures from 2 years back. You see his pictures now. His shoulders are so much broader because he's been carrying Tottenham literally. So genuinely, man, I would love to see him, but I do not think he dons the red jersey if the Glazers is still part of it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, but it would be brilliant, like, where Harry Kane would be a part of the side. But then, like you said, I think that as of now is a pipe dream in itself.
Yeah.
But if you had to pick up, like, there were a host of strikers that we were linked with. We just named 3 of them. There was the likes of Gonzalo Ramos from Benfica. There was Marcus Thuram, who found himself signing for Inter Milan in that regard. But coming into that transfer window talk, a little more, do you think that will we be able to, get a lot more outgoings in? Because I think the Muppeteers have just gone out and said that, there is a potential of the Tellers deal falling through, which means it could not happen. And then we also have quite a few sellable assets, as we can say, where Dean Henderson is on the chopping block. Potentially, Fred is attracting a lot of interest from a lot of clubs. Then Harry Maguire, perhaps, but although at this point of time he seems pretty content to fight for his place in the side, which again has received a barrage of abuse for him, which I personally don't get the amount of abuse that the guy receives. Like I'm whether this is my England international fan base bias talking or as a United fan, like I always support the player until he wears the United shirt. Like he's handled the entire situation in a dignified manner. Put any other player in his side, he would not be able to take the litany of abuse that he's received throughout the course of his tenure. Like, the abuse that he's received is just borderline vile at this point. Like whatever he does, it just doesn't seem to connect. Like there was a training video that he put out, he got abused for that.
Yeah,
The,
yeah, yeah.
the statement that he put out saying that the captaincy has been taken or that he's been relieved of captaincy duties. There are people who've gone ahead and made out a post saying that this is a chat GPT response. Like, come on, guys, like what's going on here? Like, if there is a player who genuinely wants to do good, like just let him be. Like, so what are your thoughts on the Maguire situation? Like, this is ideally when you talk about a player giving up his captaincy, it is when he's entering into a sunset and when he's getting out of a club, either due to retirement or whether being a mutual parting of the contract when it comes to an end. But here, this is an entirely different situation where the player is still having 2 years on his deal. He is in the peak of his powers as a player. He's just going to turn 30. Up until last year, he's a very key cog in the wheel for England as well. So this is not a player who's on the fringes. This is a player who still has some sort of repute among his teammates, among his peers. So, do you think what are your thoughts when you came to know the news about the Maguire situation, the Maguire captaincy being stripped off, basically?
I'm a bit baffled. Look, again, as there's one human aspect to which I completely agree with you. You cannot dip into a player, regardless of what shirt he wears, man. I really feel for Harry. I mean, you can tell it's just one of those things where you can tell he's putting in the effort, but he's just not cut out for this style of play, right? He's that old school sort of centre back who will use his body, lean on you, put his body weight, make you tired, but he's not the kind of player Eric Ten Hag wants, right? What baffles me, buddy, what really gets my goal as well is what is he trying to prove? And let me tell you why. Because right now, United has signed a short-term deal with Chris Evans. That mixed with
Do you mean Captain America? I'm sorry. Do you mean Captain America, Chris Evans?
yeah, about that. Captain America, right? Let's go Captain America, yeah. I mean, the fact that you have been snatched of the captaincy, you got somebody who technically should be playing top flight football anymore. He is right now, in my opinion, the fifth choice centre back for Manchester United. There's Lisandro, right? There's Varane. Luke Shaw has been stepping in. There's obviously Lindelof. Now there's of course Captain America, and now, if you are after that, buddy, just do what's good for the club. And again, I do feel for Harry Maguire, but at the end of the day, I'm a Manchester United supporter, and I will always love what is best for my club. And the best thing I see for my club right now is for him to move on, get a good price. I don't know what he's doing, trying to say, I'll fight, I'll fight. Tell me one thing, buddy. In fact, you guys in the comments tell me as well. If he's saying, I want to work my ass off, become the first choice centre back. What makes you think that the rest of these world class defenders are not going to work harder and still be better than you? There's a massive gap to fill in. One season isn't enough for me. So I would sell him instantly. And coming to the second thing you brought on, the reason why I'm still really pissed off at this transfer window is not the three players that we bought, is the lack of sales we've made. We know we cannot buy anyone because of financial fair play unless we don't offset the monies by selling players. We have Scott McTominay, who I don't think is going to be sold, should definitely go. Fred, tell us first of all, even if the deal doesn't go, I mean, does get sorted, it's 4 million from the country that's paying 10x of what you should be paid. So that just tells me there's horrible stuff happening at the back end at Manchester United. Can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think, but speaking about the Teles deal in particular, a lot of people like you are rightly justified in saying that, the outlay that we've received from a club or from a country that has been pouring in the millions of pounds into players to get into diversify their project. But if we take into account the amount of money that it frees from our books, I think that is a pretty good piece of business. It is a pretty different opinion from what I've been hearing about as far as, but I think we've got a fair deal because, like Romano himself said, the most of the teams that were inquiring for the availability of Teles were looking to get him on a free transfer. The fact that we've got even a little bit of money for him, no matter how meager, it's a pretty big thing.
But
Uh,
that's the thing, we shouldn't. I keep saying this. We shouldn't be happy with mediocrity or being average. I think honestly, I'm talking about the United of old. We used to squeeze out every penny. I think 4 minutes for a Europa Cup winner, honestly, is not ideal for me. Yeah, it is something, but something isn't good enough. And I keep saying this, that we get a little excited with a couple of big deals, and this is exactly what the Glazers do. They know exactly when the fans are going to be excited. They have gone completely off the radar now. You won't hear anything about the takeover since yesterday, maybe. So, I mean, they're playing all of us, getting the big deals, but these are not deals that put a smile on my face. Yeah, we've got 4 million, and that too might not go through. We should have sold at least 4 or 5 players by now. If Eric Ten Hag wanted to sell 8, why have we not done it? We're midway through July.
Yeah, I mean, familiar feelings still remain. I think this is something that we as a club have to make a conscious effort to improve on, and that is getting rid of deadwood. Like we've been diabolical sellers, like absolutely diabolical. Like it's it's so bad that we'll have to classify it as a human rights violation. It's that bad. Like it's that, the
Right.
selling aspect is it's so bad, you know. But you spoke about an 8. Like, do you think the chances of landing an 8 in this window is high, considering the fact that the Amrabat news that has come out? Although I do not personally feel that he's the 8, he's the profile of an 8 or sort. But then I think uh, we have quite a few good players coming in the ranks. I think Kobe Manu, you know, he's been pretty good in the first two preseason games, and he's going
Yeah.
to get an extended run in the US leg as well. He's someone that Ten Hag seems to have got a fond affinity for, you know, being on his arm most of the time, putting in a word, letting him know how to play,
Apparently, he's
and
going to be part. Apparently, he's going to be part of the squad for the first team next season, which is phenomenal to hear.
that's music to my ears, to be really honest. You know, that's absolute music to my ears. We need someone like him, you know, because he's only 18. While
Yeah.
he currently plays as somewhere between a 6 and an 8. He's at that point of his age where he can be molded into whatever kind of a player that Ten Hag wants. Because and he has the skill, he has the ability.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming to the number 9 thing, do you really believe that there is a number 9 out there? That so there is a segment that Squawka does, you know, where they take a particular position and have 4 outlets of it. There's dream, there is realistic, there's wildcard, and then there's Squawka select. So I just want to do this with you. Like there is the dream, there is
Okay.
the realistic one, there is the wildcard option, and then there is Chinu selects. So give me your 4 names for this. Who would be your dream striker signing in this window?
Mbappe.
All right. All right. But then again, the question comes that Mbappe isn't really a striker himself. He is a
Yeah.
winger.
Yeah, yeah. But look, honestly, I have seen him play as a striker, and again, like you're saying, absolutely, he's not Rashford like. Right? I think he fit in perfectly. Yes, I know it's a silly dream, and it's a dream that only comes in with the Qatari money. Uh, but I would, oh my God, having him with his pace, especially in the English game. Yes, he's a fantastic winger, but him as a striker at United, I would love to see it.
All
Let's
right.
put him and Harry Kane as the dream.
All right. Fair enough. Who's your realistic striker signing this window?
Uh, I mean, I don't see anything ahead of Hoyland right now, man. To be very honest with you, Hoyland is exactly what we need. It's a bit scary because that means then they're going to have to play between him and Rashford, which means hopefully we get to see a lot of Garnacho next week.
Yep, absolutely. I think the next step for Garnacho would obviously be, you know, make a regular claim for a first 11 spot. Like we've seen what he does as an impact substitute, where he's absolutely majestic. But in the games that he started, you know, there is after a certain point, you do get the impression that the opposition does find him out, and then more or less he's often on the periphery of things. I think that will come with age. I think he has the wherewithal. I think he has the proper guidance system at the club for him to thrive as well. So again, very excited for that. Let's go to the wildcard option. Who's your wildcard striker option?
Man, I don't know, is Osimhen still on the table? Because I mean, oh my God, if we get Osimhen, bro, that is wild as hell, man.
Yeah, the moment he signs, like I go all Burna Boy, you know, with the songs all the night.
Oh,
I'm automatically going to become a Naija boy from the moment he signs. And the final one, that's Chinu selects. Like this could be anyone of your choice. Like it could be whoever. It could be an up and coming young striker who you believe is the one who's going to take football by fire. It could be an established striker who's currently at a club where where he's not exact. Like you believe that a big payday is just around the corner. Anyone, like that's particular your personal pick. Like Chino selects.
Man, you know, you know who? I mean, obviously it's not my actual answer, but you know who I would have loved to see in this United outfit? I would have loved to see Andy Cole. But of course, it's not going to happen because he's already gone. But Andy Cole would have been bloody phenomenal. But to give you, I don't know, man. Maybe Vlahovic, I think, would have been a phenomenal addition to this United side. Not exorbitantly expensive. Yes, he would come at a price. I think it would have been like that. Would be. I would love to see him uh, in a United kit.
So my choices are a little different. My dream striker, Victor Osimhen, absolutely. The realistic striker, I concur with you, is going to be Rasmus Højlund. Uh,
Right.
my wild card is very different. He's in the Premier League. He was one of England's best strikers in the last Premier League season. I'm talking about Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins, either one of the two. Now there is a
Ooh.
caveat. There is a caveat to the Ivan Toney situation, considering the fact that he's going to be back in Premier League football only in January because of the betting ban that he has. But
Oh,
Ollie Watkins is an absolute diamond. Like he took his time to find his feet in that Villa setup, but under Unai Emery, the guy has literally been like he's been as good evening as Unai Emery would want him to.
yeah, nice.
He's been one of those informed strikers in the Premier League. So and plus uh, he is all but set for a move, in the bigger sides. He has the quality. His finishing is insane. He's a proper fox in the box. And my select would definitely be Osimhen. Like I said earlier, that I'm ready to
Yeah.
pick up a scrap with anyone who says Osimhen is not for the club. So that's my four. I certainly feel that any one of these would just drastically improve our profile.
I couldn't disagree with you, honestly. I mean, I'd have to be an idiot to say any of the options you've given are wrong. And honestly, man, yeah, if I mean, the only difference that we have is I think I would rate Harry Kane a little, actually much higher than Osimhen, especially because of the English game and the way that Harry Kane plays it. 100%, bro. I mean, it's hard to disagree with your points.
Yeah, absolutely. So, final thoughts before we wrap up. Jehan had earlier put in a very, very interesting question. Let's just, for the sake of the hypothetical, let's say we get all our targets. We've gotten Mount, we've gotten Onana, we get Rasmus Højlund, and
Okay.
through some sheer written in the stars type of shit, we do end up getting the striker that we want, the number 9 that we need to make United a perfect 10. Where do you see United finishing this season in the Premier League, in the Champions League, and in the cup competitions?
Quadruple, bro. Quadruple. I think no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It pisses me off that that City have the treble. But what I would request everyone is, guys, just I remember having this again. It's going to be a little bit of a flex. I'm going to throw some names, but I remember having this conversation with Robert Perez, Wayne Rooney, and Gilberto Silva, and it was literally the Invincibles versus Rooney and me. And they said change comes very differently at different times. I think the kind of time we're living in, change can come really quickly. We've had like a 10-year transition period. Uh, this truly is the start of something special. If we can get all the signings, I, s- I would be very happy if we challenge City. Might not lick them off because, again, they're playing football in a different universe right now. Uh, I'm happy challenging the Arsenals right now, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, the top six teams. If we can comfortably beat them, and so neck and neck tie for the league, I'm happy. Champions League, I think it's a mentality thing. I think United have lost their Champions League mentality. You can see that with Arsenal. They shit themselves in the Champions League because they don't have the Champions League mentality. City took so long to such a good team. You remember the game against Madrid. So I think the Champions League is a different game. You need to have the mentality. I think the full season more, at least 4 to 5 in my opinion. Uh, FA Cup is a absolute realistic target in the Carling Cup. We cannot finish the season with anything less than at least one trophy.
All right.
Trust me. The moment the momentum starts, you see a bounce in the players' legs. And honestly, man, I think the FA Cup and the Carling Cup, or the Carabao Cup as it's called now, are the two realistic targets that we should look at definitely getting our hands on.
Yeah, we also need to keep in mind that we'll be entering the Carabao Cup as the defending champion. So there's added responsibility on us to go ahead and make sure to hold on to what is ours. I think it is still early doors to get predictions from you, but your top four, based on all the data that you've had, like the transfer dealings that each of the sides have done,
Okay.
the outgoings that each team has seen. What is your top four for the season? I know it's too early, but just out of the bat.
Yeah, sure. I'm hoping most of you guys will forget this by the end of the season, but guys, don't hate me, but I see no team messing with City just the way they are, and they've strengthened their team even more, made some very smart sells and buys. So I hate to say it, but I think City number one. I'm going United number two. Again, it's very asterisk to the bottom thing. If we get two more good signings, one being world class. Uh, Number three, I honestly am not of the thought process that Arsenal are going to continue the magical form next season. I think they do slip. So I'm going to say Liverpool and then probably Arsenal number four.
If you ask me, Liverpool would finish seven. But yeah, it is what it is.
I hope
Yeah,
so, bro.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And the three teams to get relegated, your relegation favorites.
Ooh, relegation is tough, man. Because again, if you ask me, relegation at the start of last season, bro. I mean, the teams that got relegated were so I think I'm not going to put my leg in that pond because I have no idea. I mean, the English game rather is getting too competitive, man. I mean, dude, look at Leicester City's graph. They were champions not too long ago. They came, I think, 10 years back. They came into the league, back into the league, 10 or 11 years back. Again, my numbers might be off. Won the league, and then within 3 years are relegated. So I think that is something that there is no sort of even assuming because anything can go down, dude. Look what happened to Chelsea. There was a point for a few weeks where like, come on, dude, let the Chelsea team get the out of the league. Tell
So,
me yours.
uh,
Tell me yours. I want to hear yours.
my top four prediction or my relegation ones?
Both. Give us both.
All right. So my top four is City. Unfortunately, like you said, no getting past City. United on second. I think, yeah, I think Chelsea come third. I will not put. I will not discount Pochettino. I've already had a lot of loss as far as Chelsea is concerned because last year I had them winning the title. So yeah, I genuinely did because we need to understand Thomas Tuchel is at the helm. They've made some pretty good signings, and it could, and uh, Koulibaly, Kukureya, you named a lot. Like those are pretty good
Yeah.
signings on the face value of it, especially when you have a manager like Thomas Tuchel at the helm. So Chelsea third for me. Fourth is a toss up. I don't want to say Spurs, but I think Arsenal are going to edge that battle of the North London Giants. And as far as the relegation battle is concerned, like you said, man, no one predicted the Leicester downfall. So just to give that timeline, they got promoted in 2014, won the league the next season, were Champions League quarterfinals in the next season. They won the FA Cup in 4 years, and then they got relegated in the next 2 years. And also had a Conference League semi-final as well
Yeah.
before getting relegated. So you just don't know. But I genuinely feel if any one out of those three promoted teams would be relegated, actually it's very heavy hard to be. But Luton Town could find themselves going down almost immediately after coming up. And as far as the Premier League sides are concerned, I think Wolves have run their course, especially now that they've lost Ruben Neves to the Saudi League as well. I don't see the outball from where the goals are going to come, where the creativity is going to come from. So Wolves and Luton Town for me, I'm pretty dicey on the third one. Like I'm not
which means
exactly
which
sure.
means our which means in with that point, bro, our opening day should be sorted then because we take on Wolves on our opening game. Give me a
Yeah.
good, give me a good 5-0, man. Let's start the season with a
Fine. And it's a good thing, because the game is on a Monday night, which is very courteous from the Premier League to, give us that practice to, get accustomed to watching Tuesday night and Wednesday night football now that the Champions League is coming. So I think that's a pretty crafty scheduling bit done by the Premier League there, giving us a
yeah.
Monday night game, so that we're prepared for the Champions League when earnest. With that being said, I know it could have gone on and on, but I think all good things come to an end. And this is the end. It was a pleasure talking to you, Chinmay. Love to get your insights. Love to rack your brain on the topics and on everything that is going in and around the club at the moment. One last question. You could answer it as yes or no. Do you see Mason Greenwood coming back in any capacity? Any capacity?
No.
Fair enough.
No.
That's my sentiment as well. I do not want him anywhere near the club. I have my reasons, and that's all it is to it. So thank you so much, Chinmay. It's been a pleasure talking to you. United fan, wanted to love to know what you're thinking about with the things that are going around. It was an absolute pleasure. It was a hoot and a half to have you on board with us. And thank you to all of you guys in the chat as well for getting in with your 2 cents, getting in what you feel about the entire situation, your thoughts, your 2 cents. Everything was just a blast, and I hope to somewhere down the line throughout the course of the season, maybe in the middle or maybe towards the end, would love to have you on board once again to know what you feel about the season that has gone by. Hopefully by then we have new owners, and we are competitive, and hopefully we have a trophy or two in boot. And there is a bet that I've gone through, that whenever United get Qatari ownership, I'm going to spend an entire month on stream with the Qatari headband. So that is what I've said on record.
I'll do it with you, buddy. I'll do it with you. Done. If this happens, we'll do it together. And listen, before you go, whoever's watching, guys, a big round of applause, man. Just love this energy. Buddy, you're just doing some great things, and thankfully doing it for the club that really matters. So love the energy, man. I can't imagine it's already been 57 minutes. Felt like 20.
When you talk to people who are like-minded and who enjoy having a conversation,
Yeah.
time tends to fly faster, and that's what it was. Bouncing off conversation ideas and topics with you. For me personally, I did have my set of nerves, but then when the moment I told you that you looked like Charles Oliveira, everything just went down the drain. That was something that I genuinely wanted to get off my chest, and the moment I got that, like, I was in an absolute relaxed headspace, and that is what you're seeing right now. So
I love it.
so this is, guys, Scuba Chinu. Do follow him on his Instagram. It is Scuba Chinu. You will be seeing him on a TV screen near you very, very soon, hopefully, and I'm personally looking forward to it. Once again, on behalf of the entire MESC Red Devils NCR family, Chinmay, thank you so much for joining in. It was a pleasure having you on board, and to all our fans, thank you so much. If you did love this video, go ahead, like it, subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon so that you're notified for every video. This is going to be an intense, excellent season, and we are all on board. We're going to have a lot of interactions like this. We have a lot in store for you, so do watch this space. Do help us to reach our journey of 2,500 subscribers, and do press that like button. Do subscribe to the channel once again. With that being said, this is Delvin along with Chinmay wishing all of you a good night. Do take care of yourselves, stay healthy, stay safe, and glory to all. This is your host with the most, Chinmaya Sharma, aka Scuba Chinu, along with Delvin, wishing you goodbye. Stay safe, and GGMU to all of you.